that I don't have to start from the beginning. So I'm going to tell you now is that there are 3 levels of mindfulness that people sometimes refer to when they talk about mindfulness. And different people are referring to different levels.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to tell you is all 3 of these levels of mindfulness are helpful and healthful. That is, they really do increase well-being. But progressively, as you go into the deeper and the deeper level, you get more benefit. But less and less people go to that deeper and deeper level. Most people are pretty much on the first level. So what's the first level of mindfulness? It's the level of relaxation and stress release. You know, we walk around, we're supposed to be in parasympathetic calm of the autonomic nervous system. That is, we're supposed to be enjoying ourselves, feeding ourselves, playing with other people, relating well to other people. We're supposed to be increasing our life most of the time. And every once in a long while, the fight or flight mechanism is supposed to click in when we feel threatened. That's what we have evolved to have as the 2 basic motivations in the brain. The one motivation is the motivation to open to that which is life-giving, and the other is to avoid that which is life-taking. And in nature, if you look at animals, they're mostly in this open, life-enhancing way of being. And every once in a long while, there's a threat, and then they go into fight or flight, and then quickly they come back out into being open and life-promoting. But that's not the way it is right now for us human beings because of the way we're living, which is in very close contact with one another. So there's a lot of social interaction, and some of that is threatening. And also because we're so digitally connected to one another that there's just no end to the threats that parade through our consciousness. You just, you want to get threatened, listen to the news, or talk to your neighbor about what's going on. And that would be in the best of times. In these times, we all are threatened every time we think about, okay, I got to put on a mask. Did I wash my hands? What do I do about this? What do I do about that? So we are walking around most of the time in fight or flight. In some degree, we have some degree of anxiety, of fear, sometimes of anger, but we're in that fight or flight mechanism. And when you're in the fight or flight aspect of how you're functioning, for the long term, that's very unhealthful. That hurts you. What helps you in the short run, briefly, hurts you in the long run. So we need to do something to change the balance back to being mostly okay and every once in a while threatened, rather than walking around constantly threatened, constantly in fight or flight at some level, constantly anxious. So anything that you can do to temporarily allow yourself to relax and open up again is hugely beneficial. It's why yoga has become so important, because it gives people a safe container to let go, to open up, to create, to take contraction and allow it to become expansion. And mindfulness is especially good for that, because once you learn mindfulness, you can do it any time for any length of time. And there's no posture you need, there's no special equipment you need. You can do it at a stoplight. You can do it waiting online at the store. Remember that? We used to go to the store, actually. You can do it waiting for your computer to boot up. You can do it anytime. And what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to soften and open. You're just gaining the ability to, at will, release and relax and open up. And at that level is hugely beneficial physically and hugely beneficial mentally also. And just a little bit of that seems to go a hugely long way. Our mind and bodies are so imbalanced that if you give them any opportunity to relax and open up, they immediately take that opportunity. So 5 minutes a day of mindfulness is remarkably health promoting, even though it's just 5 minutes. So that's the first level, the level of opening up, releasing tension, relaxing, feeling safe, mentally and physically. And that's the level that most people interact with mindfulness on, and that's fine. But there are deeper levels. Second level, by the way, this is a very brief lecture, and then it'll lead you through these 3 levels, okay? So we're actually going to do this. Second level, the second deeper level. That's the level of something called metacognition, M-E-T-A cognition. So what is metacognition? Metacognition means thinking about thinking. So instead of just automatically having thoughts and having them be taken as true and motivate you, suddenly you are gaining the ability to notice your own thought process, to realize what you are thinking. And when you realize what you are thinking, you realize that a lot of your thoughts are not about what's going on right now. They're about what happened or what you're anticipating will happen. They're about past and future. And when you spend a lot of your time in the past or the future, you tend to not do very well in terms of the present because you're not focusing on it. Also, a lot of the time that people spend in the past is time regretting stuff. And a lot of the time that people spend thinking about the future is being worried about stuff. So as Eckhart Tolle said in The Power of Now, depression is too much past and anxiety is too much future. And to some extent, anyway, that's true. So when you're at this metacognition level, you reorient your thoughts to pay more attention to what's in front of you than what happened before or what's going to happen later. But there's another level of it, which is when you realize what you're saying to yourself, you hear the messages, you hear the self-talk, and you realize that a lot of it is either unhelpful or false or actively injurious to you. You're saying stuff to yourself you would never say to anybody else, and that it hurts you to hear that stuff. And it's stuff that you have learned from your parents, from your peers, from the media, and now it's in your own words, and so you think it's true. But if you listen to your own thought process, you go, oh my God, how could anybody stay sane when they say that to themselves? How could anybody be happy when they say that to themselves? Because we have a tendency to catastrophize, to say the worst, to exaggerate, to put ourselves down in ways we wouldn't put other people down. So when you're at this metacognition level, you begin to realize what you're saying to yourself, and you begin to change what you're saying to yourself to be more helpful and more accurate. Instead of saying, when something happens, instead of saying to yourself, oh my God, you're such an idiot, and the worst is going to happen because of this, thinking that the world is going to end because you made a mistake. Instead, you say to yourself, well, mistakes are how you learn, and everybody makes them, and I can correct that, and you feel a lot better. So at this level, you're beginning to do what's called cognitive restructuring, changing your thoughts to be healthier. And that's fantastically important, because how you think determines how you feel and how you act. That's what cognitive therapy is. Okay. So you're doing that for yourself when you're mindful. And then there's a third, deepest level of mindfulness. And that level is the level that people generally don't get to. But that's a shame, because that's the richest level. What's that third deepest level? That's the level of witnessing and non-attachment. Witnessing and non-attachment. What does that mean? When you're witnessing the way that you're functioning, it's like you take a step back from yourself. And now, instead of being yourself, you're watching yourself. And you notice when you watch that there are 3 things happening that you call me. Thoughts in your head, words and pictures, 2 kinds. So thoughts in your head, feelings in your body, and sensations happening inside your body and coming through your sense organs. And that's your life experience. It's the combination of thoughts, feelings, and sensations. And typically we're so caught up in that stuff, we don't even know that's happening. It's just who we are and what's happening in our lives. But when we take this step back from that stuff, or interior to that stuff, we watch it. And it's like watching the me show. You're going, oh my God, listen to those words. Look at those pictures. Look at those, feel those feelings. My God, those sensations. And so you're watching this show that you used to think was you. One metaphor I use is, it's like, now you're like the sky, watching the weather. The weather is who you used to think you were, but now you're the sky watching this weather. Now, why do we want to watch it? Because when the weather's good, it's perfectly okay to be the clouds and the sun and the birds, and and it's all nice, But when the weather's lousy, when you're worried, when your heart is, when you have difficult feelings, when your body is hurting, it's terrible. You get soaked. It's terrible to be in the storm. I can teach you, I'm going to teach you in about 5 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to take a step back from the storm and be the open sky that's always blue and clear, and in which there is a storm that you're watching, but you're no longer getting soaked. Okay. And there's one more aspect of this third witnessing non-attachment level, which is you make a distinction that people generally can't make. You distinguish your awareness from thought. Mostly, wherever our attention goes, our thought goes. And so it's like they're the same thing. The minute that I smell a rose, I think, oh, that's a good smell. And I don't even smell it because mostly where I smell it and I'm also commenting on it. With practice, you see that awareness is something that you can move at will from thing to thing, and thinking is something you can choose to do when it's appropriate. So instead of every time your attention goes somewhere, your thoughts go blah, 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 now your attention goes somewhere and your thoughts may or may not accompany that. They're different processes. So you become non-attached to your thoughts. Instead of your thoughts being who you are, now your thoughts are just verbal stuff happening in your head, some of which is helpful, some of which is not helpful, but none of which is essentially who you are. Essentially, you are an awareness that you call me, in which thoughts, feelings, and sensations come and go. Now, that's easy to hear. What I just told you, you all understood intellectually, but being able to actually perceive that requires wiring a new ability into your brain. It's not something your brain knows how to do natively. It's something that you're teaching your brain to do. Okay. And once you teach your brain to do that, then whenever it's not okay to be me, whenever you're suffering, you can take a step back and you can go, oh my God, wow, what a show I'm watching. Thank God that's not me. So you can come out of suffering by taking this by becoming non-attached to what's going on, by taking a step back from it. And with practice, that changes your life. That changes the way you look at yourself. It changes the way you look at other people. It changes the way you operate. But it's not a quick fix. That is, you need to learn this, and especially you need to learn it well enough so that when things are really going wrong, you can take that step back. And when things are going right, you want to take that step back every once in a while to appreciate how gorgeous you are as a human being, how wonderful your thoughts, your feelings, and your sensations are when they're working properly, how beautiful the weather is when it's beautiful weather.